All right, Steve, if you want to go ahead and take off, it looks like we've got who's going to be here in the door. So thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, my name's Steve Groot. I'm with Averrit Express, obviously. I just wanted to take just a couple minutes to thank all of you for your service. I understand that this is probably mostly, if not all, military veterans that are transitioning, and just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate your service and your patriotism to our country. You'll see as this presentation goes on that Averrit Express is very military friendly. Especially my boss. I would consider him a super patriot. But anyway, a little bit about myself. I started with this company 13 years ago as a student trainee right out of school. So I know all about, every aspect of this, including, going to school to get my CDL and going through the orientation and the training program and everything like that. So, and I will tell you that it was a very, very fun experience to say the least. So anyway, Averrit Express is celebrating 50 years in business this year. That's quite an accomplishment in the trucking industry. In fact, just recently we've been hearing of companies that are switching around, buying up other companies and things like that. But we're a little bit different than that. Averrit Express is started in 1971 by one man who bought 3 trucks, and he's still our owner and CEO to this day. And he actually has the company legally structured in a way where that can't happen. So, and he's very careful about the reputation that we have in the industry. We're not so much focused on being the biggest company out there, but just the best. And I encourage you, with whatever career path you take, to do some research, and to see what other people are saying about the company that you're going to work for. And I think that you'll find that our reputation speaks for itself. Now, a few years ago, we became a military OJT training company, which was quite a task to say the least. But anyway, so for our military veterans, we have this program available, the OJT program, which allows you to use your post 9/11 GI benefits to take advantage of for the first year that you work for us. In fact, depending on how much you have available to you, you can earn up to $1,140 per month for that first year. So, and of course, I'll talk about our tuition reimbursement later, so it's a very, very effective program. In fact, I go to Fort Campbell all the time. I was just there last week talking to the soldiers as they're coming home and transitioning out of the military and into civilian life. And so we have a tremendous program there for you. If you're not sure of what you want to do, but you want to get into something with transportation and logistics, we certainly have the opportunities for you here. As I mentioned before, we're celebrating 50 years, and in that 50 years, our owner has built the company up to include, over 9,000 associates. We have an extremely low turnover rate compared to the rest of the trucking industry. You'll find that a lot of the people that work here are here for the long term. I mean, I've been here 13 years and I'm considered somewhat of a newcomer around here. I mean, I don't know how long Dan has been here, but my boss has been here over 30 years. And if you talk to people, it's 20, 25, 30-year people all over the place, all over this company. So that says a lot for the company, that they want to stay here. They're not looking for another job. We're also debt-free and non-union. So that's another advantage to our company that, some trucking companies are struggling out there. I mean, I have friends that are truck drivers that are working for companies that you can tell by the way that they handle their comm data card and things like that, that things aren't going that well for them. But we just recently had our profit sharing for the last quarter, and it was the highest that it's ever been. So the company is very solid and stable. We do have more than 100.
I'm sorry, Steve, this is Dan. Do you want to go into a little bit about how the profit sharing is generated?
Well, yeah. Actually, I mean, other than the fact that I know the percentage of it, but if you would like to jump in here, Dan, you might do a better job of that than me, other than, not wrecking our trucks and, making sure that but go ahead. If you'd like to jump in, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's pretty straightforward calculation. The way Gary set it up is that 20% of all the profit dollars go back to our associates. And what they receive is it's X percent of their compensation. So for example, I think in the first quarter, what was it? It was like 5.9%.
Right.
Of their compensation came back to them in profit sharing dollars.
Right.
And that amount is driven obviously as we do better and don't have accidents, things like that. That number increases every quarter.
Right. Okay, so as you can see, let me move on to this next one. We have over 100 state-of-the-art facilities, including around, we're not the biggest company out there. You can see 4,400 tractors and over 14,000 trailers, but we're very solid in the region that we operate in. And as I mentioned, when I first came here, I knew immediately when I got to orientation in Cookeville, Tennessee, that I was at a company that was definitely different than any place that I've ever worked. The professionalism, the cleanliness, just the top-notch everything about the corporate campus made me know that I had made the right decision. And we do have a true open door policy. We want people to stay here long-term. We want, our average age of driver is 54 years old, and we have all kinds of things set up as far as like a weekly newsletter, podcasts. We used to do cookouts. We've had to quit those just temporarily with this COVID, but we do a lot of different things to keep our associates connected and it just make it feel like a big family. And that's what it's like here. So now we are a uniform company. I actually like this aspect of the company. When I came here, I realized that when I had my Averrit uniform on, it did several things for me. It made me remember that I'm a professional commercial truck driver. And it also helps out whenever you're going to a customer's location to where they don't just wonder, who is this person walking up? They just know, hey, that's Averrit, let's get Averrit taken care of. And it may not be fair, but we do seem to get better treatment because of the fact that we look professional. We conduct ourselves in a professional manner, and we have a very, a strong culture of being the best company out there. And as you can see, we allow you to wear shorts in the summer. We actually custom tailor everybody for their uniform when they come to orientation. So we have women's uniforms, and we make sure that you're looking really, really sharp and professional when you're out there. Now, this is our region that we operate in. So as you can see, we're not a 48 state company, but we're very solid here in the Southeast, Southwest, and Midwest. Now, of course, the company was started in Livingston, Tennessee, which is just north of Cookeville, but in Cookeville is where our corporate campus is, but you're never very far from an Averrit service center in most of our positions. So as a former driver, I can tell you that I knew where all of these facilities were because I utilized them very heavily as a driver. This is our brand new service center in Greensboro. And this is just the place to go. If you're a driver and you have a delivery in or anywhere near Greensboro, surely this is where you would want to go because it's safe, secure, it's clean. We have all kinds of amenities on site. We have 2 twin service centers, huge ones in Atlanta. This one is our Lawrenceville service center. We also have one on the west side. And I can tell you, I spent a lot of nights here at this service center because as a driver, if you're coming out of the Carolinas going south on 85 and you have a drop in Atlanta tomorrow morning, good luck trying to find a truck stop or a rest area. You just pull right into this service center. It's got Wi-Fi access, of course, showers, fueling stations, exercise equipment, just everything that you need to take care of yourself and your truck is at these service centers. And the support centers are such a valuable asset. We have mechanics on duty, fuel on site. So, we've got all the fluids so you can do a good post-trip, pre-trip inspection. If you have anything wrong with your truck, there are, of course, mechanics that can just fix it right away. So can't say enough about our Averrit service centers. That really makes a big difference. When you see our trucks going down the road, generally they look cleaner than a lot of the other fleet trucks that you see out there because of this. Now, our training program is second to none. It was great when I came through it, but it's a lot better now. And one of the reasons is because the pay, I mean, $1,000 per week for training. And that's for basically 5 days of work, because you're going to get home every weekend with your trainer. So the first 5 weeks is going to be over the road training with your trainer, sitting there in the passenger seat, evaluating everything that you're doing while you're out there. In fact, I used to road test some of our students that came through the training program. And I can tell you, sometimes I had a hard time finding anything wrong to mark off. They were that good. So you're going to get some very, very high quality training. You're going to get home every weekend during your training. And you're also going to get $4,800 tuition reimbursement to pay for your CDL schooling, wherever that happens to be. Now, we have a list of approved schools on our website where you can find out which one of those schools to attend. And we are even careful about which schools we allow on our approved list. So you can be sure that you're going to get some high quality CDL training there. And as you can see, it's paid out. The tuition bonus is paid out over 2 years. We don't have any contract to sign or anything like that. But of course, if you decide to leave us before the 2 years, then of course your tuition assistance will end as well.
Hey, Steve, could you
Yeah.
go back to that slide real quick? Everybody, I'm
Sure.
Ben from Next Stop. We're the veteran
Yeah.
employee nonprofit that's supporting this call. Steve, is this with their GI Bill, or is this a benefit itself completely outside the GI Bill?
That's separate.
Okay, wow.
The $1,140 a month from your GI Bill would be in addition to this.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, you get $1,000 a week while training, your tuition assistance. And then here's something that we believe we're the exclusive company that has this. We don't know for sure, but we have what's called a driver finishing school. We have one in Cookeville and one in Lexington. And so your first 5 weeks, as you remember, that's your over the road training, but then you're going to be issued your own assigned tractor, and you're going to drive it to either Cookeville or Lexington. And you're going to go through an advanced backing training program that's run by either John Hawk or Gary Craighead. Both are extremely experienced drivers, and they're going to be teaching you things that you don't have the time to learn in school or even during your 5 weeks training. Gary says that sometimes these drivers get up to 200 moves per day for that last week, your 6th week of training. So you're basically just going to be going backwards, and it's in your own assigned tractor at that point. So what this means to you as a driver is that you're going to have about 60% less chance of getting in a backing accident. So when we found out, we did some statistics and found out that this program is just going to possibly save your career and of course save the company tons of money. So all of our students that go through the student training program go to our advanced backing school, and believe it or not, some of our quote experienced drivers end up there because they didn't get the high quality training that we offer in the beginning. So it's a very, very valuable asset. You're going to be a much more confident, competent, and safe driver by going through this program. Now, after you complete your training, we have several options for you, especially if you're military, and depending on the location that you're going to. Now, I don't know where any of the people that are on this call live, but if you remember back on the map, we are pretty solid there in the Midwest, Southeast, and Southwest. But our dedicated driving positions that we offer student positions are going to average between $1,000 and $1,400 per week starting. And so that pay can go up and down a little bit depending on the kind of week that you have, but very solid, stable career path there with the dedicated position. I thought I had yeah, there we go. This got a little bit mixed up, but our dedicated supply chain division is if you don't know what that is, these are companies that decide to use us to haul their freight for them instead of trying to maintain a fleet of drivers and trucks themselves. As you can see on the bottom there, Cracker Barrel, that's one of our big accounts that we've had for years and years and years. And it's just a great account. Now, this is one of those companies or one of those accounts that's going to get you outside of that region. So if you wanted to see the whole 48 states or something like that, this might be an option for you. We have a whole bunch of different dedicated supply chain accounts, and we're picking up new accounts all the time. So you just never know what's going to be coming up the road. Some of them are home daily. Some of them are home weekly. Most of them, in fact, all of them, I believe, are home weekly at this point. And then we also have regional driving positions, which that's going to be in that region, that same region that we saw before. The difference between this and the dedicated supply chain account is that the regional position is 100% no touch freight. So most of our dedicated positions do require some physical activity involved with the job, but this one's going to be strictly no touch freight. So just either live load, unload, or drop and hook at different locations in that region with weekly home time. And as you can see, an average of around 62.4 per year. Now, here's what's the huge advantage to Averrit Express. We have different positions. We're a full transportation company. So if you're not happy with the position that you're in, you can transfer to something else. And one of the great ways that people do that is through our flex position. You're kind of like a floater. You go wherever you're most needed. If someone's on vacation or something like that, you might work this account for 1 week and then go try something else. So if you like a lot of variety and flexibility, the flex position would be for you. And you might find that perfect opportunity there to find something that just fits your personality and your needs just perfectly. And then finally, after you've been with us for 6 months, you can become eligible to be promoted into even local driving positions. Now, there are a few caveats with this. First of all, you have to have your hazmat and tanker endorsements to get a local position. And of course, you have to live relatively close to one of our service centers. We don't want you driving, 200 or 300 miles to go to work. So they're going to look at your location and everything like that. But our local city drivers, that's a really good position to have. That's one that people are constantly looking to move into because it's home daily, home every weekend. And the pay now is, depending on the location, is over $30 an hour. We also have these LTL shuttle drivers that just move freight between service center and service center overnight. This is also one of those very, very popular positions with our drivers. The turnover rate is next to nothing in these positions. Once they get into them, they hardly ever leave us. And then finally, down towards the bottom, you'll see team shuttle. Now, I got a call one day as I was a solo driver with Averrit Express from my trainer who asked if I wanted to run team. And my first answer was no, I don't want to run team. But I can tell you that this turned out to be one of the best positions, the best trucking positions I've ever had in my life, because for one reason, you only go to Averrit service centers, no other pickups or deliveries, and the pay right now in this position, the top out pay is 74.5 cents per mile. So that means that our team shuttle drivers are earning somewhere between $1,500 and sometimes over $2,000 a week. They're close to, or in some cases over $100,000 a year job. So we have some lucrative positions. We have some interesting positions like our on-tour logistics. This is an elite group of drivers who haul for the top musical acts and tours based out of Nashville. And by the way, after you've been with us for a year, you can even transfer into operations leadership or other non-driving roles or become a trainer. So we always promote from within using what we call our job hotline. These are positions that are available only to Averrit associates, not to the outside public. So if you are a person, I know a lot of people from the military have a lot of education. I've seen the resumes and they've blown me away with their skills, their training, the education that they have, and they want to move up into operations and leadership and other, management positions. Well, this is the place to do that. In fact, my own boss used to be a driver out of Nashville, and now he's the recruiting manager over the entire department. So, and we have many, many people like that. So just keep that
Steve,
in mind. Yeah.
Steve, I'm sorry, this is Dan.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for the dedicated division, and in our group, we probably have, I don't know, I'd say 115, 120 leadership associates, and I can safely say that at least 20%, probably closer to 30%, have promoted into those positions from either mostly driving, some dock, but most of them have promoted from driving positions either within supply chain or from truckload or from our LTL division.
Right. And I also forgot to mention that Averrit as a company, we hire 23% of our associates are former military at this time. So we're very, very focused. In fact, we had a goal of hiring a certain number of military veterans, and we actually broke the record. We had to set a new goal because we did so well at that. We had a 1,200 by 2020, and we beat it way ahead of time. So if you're a military veteran and you're looking for a professional company to come to and really move up in the ranks, this is a very good opportunity for you. And now this one here, I didn't talk too much about this OTL, this on-tour logistics. This is the one position with our company that will not give you weekly or daily home time. So if you're not interested in that, this is a very fun job. These drivers, they go out on tour with some of these major bands in Nashville, and they could stay out for sometimes 2 or 3 months at a time, and they could cover the whole United States and Canada. So if you really wanted to get out there and see the country and see the world and have a good time, but some of the benefits to this position is that it's a salary-based position. So it's not based on how many miles you drive the truck. And I can tell you that these drivers don't drive the truck like I used to drive mine. And so they'll go to one of these stadiums and they'll set up for a tour, and they'll stay there for 3 or 4 days. And during that time, they're just free to sightsee and do whatever they want. And then they move on to the next location. So it's a pretty cool gig there for the right person. Now, our equipment, oh man, these trucks are so nice. I tell you, they've changed so much over the year. Every year they come out, they're nicer than they were the year before. We have 2 different companies that we use, Freightliner and Volvo. But as you can see, the inside of this Freightliner Cascadia, it's comfortable, it's big, it's roomy, it's got all kinds of room in it to do things. And there's so much safety equipment and things and other things, things to keep you safe and comfortable. All of them have automatic transmissions with APU. We have the advanced Qualcomm, that keeps your hours of service, your e-logs, and also talks to you and it shows you your load assignment, and also has a trucker GPS built into it. So it's going to keep you off of those roads that you don't need to be on. But we really take a lot of pride in our equipment. We have regular maintenance on everything. And even our trailers are just so nice. They're just nice and new and everything looks good. So you don't have to worry about our equipment here. If you want to see the equipment up close, you can go to our website. There's a video that will show you. I'm not going to try to play it right now because it can get a little sketchy trying to watch a video with a PowerPoint on a Zoom call. So I found in the past. But anyway, I talked about home time a little bit in the beginning, and I'll talk about it again because this is one of the main things that gets people to where they're looking to move to a different company. A lot of over-the-road truck drivers are going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks at a time or longer. And I can tell you from experience talking to drivers that they're missing the holidays, they're missing their kids' events and things like that. So we're probably the most family-friendly home time company in the industry, with either weekly or daily home time for virtually every position, plus 8 paid holidays per year after 90 days, and your PTO or vacation time, as that starts to accumulate, all these different things built into the pay package to keep your paycheck up, like stop pay, layover pay, breakdown and detention pay. We even have minimum miles pay. So this is a job you can live with. This is a job where you can have a life outside of the truck. And if you're like me, married with children still at home, even though I'm almost 60 years old, I still have kids at home. But anyway, it just makes it a lot better job as far as if you're going to be in this industry, you want to have something that's going to give you a lifestyle outside of the truck. Now, benefits. You may not have thought about benefits, and I know a lot of people, if you're military, you probably have really good benefits through the military, but you might want to look at our benefits package anyway, because it's comprehensive and it's very affordable. I can tell you that these are brand new glasses. I don't really like this blue image that I'm seeing in the screen, but I can tell you that we have some of the best insurance that's out there. It's through Blue Cross. We're actually self-insured, but it's administered through Blue Cross. But for $93.95 per week for your entire family, that's the starting premium for the high deductible plan. And that includes medical, dental, vision, prescription, and hearing. Now we do have the PPO plan as well. It's $125 a week for your entire family. And as you can see there, it's just $36.95 for unmarried individuals. It's almost, if you know, you'd pay to get that. If you're, even if you have some other insurance, you might want to look at getting that, because there's a lot that goes into all of this thing with your dental cleanings that are covered, your vision, you know, and everything like that, prescription. Plus we have a lot of other benefits. We talked briefly about our profit sharing, which goes, it's directly deposited into your Wells Fargo 401k. We have both the traditional and the Roth. And as I mentioned earlier, our last quarter, our profit sharing was the highest that it's ever been, at over 5%. We have company paid life insurance and short-term disability, of course, paid orientation, which I'll talk about a little bit in a minute here. And flexible spending account. In fact, I personally chose the high deductible medical plan because they give you the HSA, the health savings account, and Averrit puts $20 per week into that for me. And that balance just continues to roll over week after week after week, year after year. You can use it for any medically related costs, and you can take it with you when you retire. So it's just a neat thing to have. Plus we have a lot of discounts, and I mentioned our uniform program. Of course, we pay for all of your uniforms, so you don't have to worry about that. We're going to keep you outfitted in nice uniforms. Our orientation, it used to be that we'd fly or bus or drive everybody into Cookeville, Tennessee, and Gary, our owner, would go over and shake everybody's hand. But just because of what happened last year, we're now doing virtual orientation, but you're still going to get paid somewhere around $800 for attending orientation. That's a lot of training that's done on your computer. Some of it may be at the domicile where you're hired, but that'll be about a 3 or 4 day period of time from Monday through Thursday after your before your training. Bless you. So anyway, that's the presentation that I have to offer you. Just to kind of summarize, we have a very solid, stable, and debt-free company that's 50 years old. We have one of the best training programs out there that's going to teach you to be a very confident and competent driver. And it's a very, you get paid $1,000 a week during training. We have multiple different business units that you can transfer into and move up into as you find your way through this company and find that place that just fits you just perfectly, including whether it be driving or even non-driving positions in operation leadership or anything like that. We have a very comprehensive and affordable benefits package. So we feel like we've got the whole package here at Averrit Express, and also the equipment. I didn't mention that. Late model, automatic transmission, well-maintained equipment. So if this sounds good to you, whoever is on this call, please contact me. There's my information, 931-200-0300 if you want to call me, or if you want to text me your name and email address, I'll send you some information and we can connect and talk and see if this would be a good fit for you. See, depending on where you live, if we have an opening for you or anything like that. So with that, I guess I'll turn it over to the next person who's on the queue to speak next.
Yeah, why don't we go with Bobby next?
Okay.
Did I get myself unmuted?
Yep, we can hear you and we can see you. Yep.
Okay. And thank you guys for inviting me on this call. And also I'd like to thank all the veterans. And a little bit about myself. I started with Averrit in July of 2017, and probably one of the best moves I've ever made. I do remember in orientation, one of the questions that they would ask you would be, what matters more to you, miles or home time? And of course, I chose home time, to be home with my family. And I don't think you're going to find any other company out there, in my opinion, that does a great job of getting you home, to be with your family. I know that I have been out and thinking, well, they say we're going to get home every weekend. Are they really going to hold true to that? Well, I can tell you, Averrit probably does the best job of getting their drivers home every week. My typical week is I leave out on a Monday and usually home on a Friday. Every now and then, things are going to happen and you might not get home until Saturday. And with that, depending on what time you get home Saturday, your fleet manager may leave you in on Monday as well. So you get, your full weekend with your family. I do remember being in Ohio on a Thursday and thinking like, okay, I've got a load now that's been assigned to me to go to Texas. I'm thinking, there's no way that Averrit is going to have me home this weekend. And most drivers would probably be freaking out, calling their fleet manager saying, okay, I'm in Ohio on Thursday and I've got a load that you've assigned to me to go to Texas. There's no way for me to get from Ohio to Texas and then you get me home for the weekend. Well, let me assure you, Averrit is very good at this. They have a team that will more than likely do what they call a relay. You'll pick that load up in Ohio. You'll start getting it towards Texas, and somewhere along the line, I live in Tennessee, so somewhere along the line, they will relay, which means they will take that load off of you and give it to another driver that probably lives in Texas or close there, so they can get it home. So Averrit is.
Bobby, you muted yourself. Bobby, if you would, I'm gonna see if I can unmute it myself. Let's see.
We may have lost him. Sound like he
He's
may
back.
have dropped.
Can you hear us, Bobby?
I think I'm now.
Yeah, so Bobby, if you go back like a minute and a half, you muted yourself by accident. You're now unmuted, but go ahead.
Okay. But anyway, just to pick up, like I said, Averrit is very, very good at, putting these things together. So if you get a load that you're in Ohio and you live in Tennessee and it's going to Texas, they will work it out. Can't say enough about how Averrit, not only cares about their drivers, they care about your family. And like Steve was mentioning earlier about the uniforms and stuff, even on your uniforms, if you're a veteran, you'll have the opportunity to have embroidered that you're a U.S. vet. And I'm not sure if that will actually show that, but it's amazing of how many people at the shipper and receivers that notice that. Well, thank you for your service. And also out in the public, the truck stop, other drivers will see it. They'll let you know that, thank you for your service. So it's just another thing that Averrit, puts on their drivers as well. Not only that, but, they care for their drivers, they care for their veterans. Also, they care for kids. So another thing on the other side of your shirt is Averrit does a lot of the cares for kids. I remember getting pieces of mail at home talking about the care for kids. And, if I get some kind of recognition for a driving award or whatever, the owner, Mr. Gary Sasser, will also take and put as a donation in your name to the Cares for Kids. So, Averrit goes a lot as far as, not only their drivers, but all associates, your family. And I just can't say enough about Averrit. And again, like Steve was mentioning, this is our 50-year anniversary. So Averrit has been around for a long, long time. And I think they have a good roadmap to be there another 50 years. So anyway, I'll go ahead and end here. And like I say, I want to welcome all of the veterans. Thank you for your service. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to the next person.
Thank you, Bobby. Andrew, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I just want to appreciate everybody for inviting me to this event. I want to thank everybody for their service, very much so. I am Andrew Norton, driving associate for Averrit for the past year. My previous driving experience was with another well-known carrier for about 9 years, where we hauled plumbing supplies. I wasn't, and then another large company came in and took over that contract. I wasn't getting the loads with this larger company, and I wasn't getting the miles. So I reached out to a buddy of mine who had come to Averrit and asked him how he liked it, and he said it was awesome. So I put in my application, got a call from recruiting, and they explained to me the situation, the process, and I can tell you it was right on the money. Orientation, as previously stated, was done remotely. And I have to say, I was impressed, immediately impressed with everybody, how friendly they were, how helpful they were. And as I said, I've been doing this for about 9 years. And this is the first company that I've gotten to that this has come about, just friendly and helpful in every way. There were no exaggerations when I was talking to the recruiter. There was no confusion. Also, I want to say another thing I love about this is driver services. They call you every so often to check on you. If you have any questions, you can relay your questions, or you have situations, you can relate it to them. You've always got somebody to talk to. Now that I've been with Averrit for approximately about a year, I wish I'd have found them sooner. I really do. It's just an outstanding company to be with. In my opinion, Averrit is far better than any other company that I've been with. And I regret not finding out this earlier in my career. I am a retired serviceman. I served in the submarine force, and as in the submarine community or any forces, we take care of our own, and Averrit does that. They take care of their own. And it's previously stated, there's so many things I love about Averrit, especially the hire from within. You can, if you want to move up the ladder, call the hotline, see if positions are open, and just apply. And you will get a call back within, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 days, but they will call you. The key thing to remember is that Averrit, you can make a career what you want. You can grow, you can move within the company as needed, as your needs change. So I'm so happy to be an Averrit team member, and I hope you'll join me. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Jan, are you on the line?
Yes, sir.
All right.
How
Can you
y'all
tell us?
doing?
Doing well. Thank you. Appreciate you being on the call as well.
First of all, I want to thank all the veterans and for inviting me for this phone call. My name is Jan Bielo. My current position at Averrit Express, I work in the supply chain. I am a central staff operation leader. I say a current position because I'm here to talk to you about a career growth potential at Averrit that I don't think you can get anywhere else. I've been a professional driver for 11 years, working for my friend as an independent driver. And I remember the first time I saw Averrit drivers was in Lexington, Kentucky. And it was probably like 2000, I'd say it's probably about like 2006. And I remember the uniforms. To me, it was like military for me. Everybody was dressed the same. Everybody had clean uniforms, clean trucks. And me being an independent driver, I was like, man, I really wish I could drive for this unit. The company that we were running for was Town Air Freight, and they basically shared a little dock there in Lexington, Kentucky. at the Averrit terminal. But, you know, I was out on the road for 3 to 6 months. Sometimes I wouldn't come home for even longer than that. And I got accustomed, I got acquainted with the over the long road, long haul life. And I decided I wanted to be closer to home after those 11 years and not stay out so long. I found a position driving for Averrit Express that would get me home through the week and the weekends, and that was for Family Dollar. I probably drove for Averrit probably less than 2 months. They offered me the leadership position as a frontline leader, where I handled dispatch and set up all the loads for the drivers and helped them out with a lot of the things today drivers call you at 4 o'clock. I had a 4 o'clock in the morning call today about a latch on tandems today. Take care of it with the driver. Doesn't matter, even on the weekends, I'll get calls from other accounts. I work on many accounts now, but drivers still call me and ask me for help. And I always put down whatever I do. Doesn't matter if I'm with my family, I'm at a grocery store. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna take care of you, even if you're not on my account and you call me. But that was all learned with military experience and with the love of being here with Averrit. And the way they've taken care of me, it makes me want to always be supportive of any driver, of anything that I can do to help Averrit. Because this is my team. I want this to be the last place that I retire, and I intend to do that. So when I say Averrit offers career growth, it's from a personal perspective. I have learned to handle a variety of responsibilities from all kinds of positions, from payroll to logistics to driver communications. As a former Marine and National Guard serviceman, I know that many of you listening are seeking a job that fits with how you'd like to work. I can assure you that every aspect of operations at Averrit is executed in common sense, efficient way. We're focused on safety with comprehensive maintenance practices that no other carrier can beat, as Steve Groot was showing us. Everything at Averrit is performed at a higher standard. If you join us at Averrit, you'll be given the tools and support to succeed. Then you make it happen. Your career won't stop where you start. No matter where you start here, there's more for you at Averrit. You can grow within the company and stay here for the life of your career, like I intend to do so. Last thing, God bless our veterans and God bless America.
All right, thank you, Yana. Appreciate that. And Ben, before I turn it back over to you, I did actually, I reached out to our HR, and they actually told me it was on our website, and I found it that in the last 3 years, we've had 239 promotions from within. So just kind of reinforces what Jan was just telling us.
Hoorah!
Good stuff. And yeah, I sniffed out a fellow Marine, so I appreciate your passion today. But
You got that devil, Doc.
I did get a few questions in the chat from various different folks that are on here. They were sent to me individually, so I'm going to go ahead and ask those. So, you know, some interest in the training process. I'm sorry, training program. Like, how does an interested person apply, and what does that process look like? You know, Steve, if they reach out to you, if they've got 6 months before they get out of service, or if they have some time, what does the turnaround look like? Or if you can kind of give us some more specifics.
Sure. Well, if you have somebody that's got 6 months to go, what I would recommend them doing is start to look into the different CDL schools that are in their area and find out which one they want to attend, you know, just based on, because some CDL schools are short, you know, 3 weeks, some are 7 weeks long, and, you know, some offer weekend classes. So whatever one of those schools might fit into your schedule, start looking into that. I might wait just a little bit longer closer so that you can kind of make a nice smooth transition. I wouldn't advise that you take your CDL training and get your CDL right now and then wait 6 months to get hired. I would kind of wait a little bit longer so you can kind of make a nice smooth transition. But once you're in CDL school and have your CDL permit, you can actually put in your application with us, and we'll start processing that application, doing the pulling your background and your employment history and your MVR and things like that. And we can have a contingent job offer waiting for you for the week following your graduation from school, which would really be ideal. And then you would do your orientation the next week. And then immediately after that week, then you would start your 5 weeks of over the road training with one of our certified trainers. And then the final week would be, of course, our finishing school in your own assigned truck. And then after that, you're a fully qualified, licensed and trained driver, and you'll start off with your first load assignment after that 6 weeks of training. And then from there on, it's just, wherever you want to go from there.
So Steve, one of the barriers we see often is that people just don't know where to start with a CDL. Is that something you could give them some guidance on, or is there a place that mentorship on that? Or
yeah, absolutely. Have them call me, and I'll we can talk, we can discuss, where they live, and I can, from personal experience, I visit all of the schools in my own region, which is Tennessee, Alabama, and Kentucky. But I certified schools all the way from Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, and so I'm very knowledgeable about those schools, and I can certainly give them, the guidance on which school I think would best fit them, with their needs and what their schedule is like and everything like that. That's what I do. So.
Thank you, Steve. What about, I think, what are the things that people can do right as they're transitioning into this industry or career field? And what are some things that you might see with applicants or with resumes that, I guess anybody from your team can answer this, that people need to watch out for, or things they might be doing wrong?
Well, one of the things that I think that people do wrong is they try to get their CDL on their own. They just study for the test, and they try to take the test, and they try to find someone or rent a truck to take the CDL road test in. And they think that by doing that they're just going to get a job. And I would definitely advise that you don't do that. Multiple reasons. First of all, it's hard to do it that way. You're not going to get the correct training. You're not going to be ready to do the job. And so our program is set up to where it just takes you step by step through and just makes you a better driver to begin with. And then the other thing I would say is I wouldn't advise that someone become an owner operator right away. I mean, I think that there's a lot to be said for having a company vehicle that you're driving, that you don't have to worry about if something goes wrong. We have a very aggressive breakdown department and all of these shops that are at our service centers to keep you up and running. If, some of these people that go out and buy their own truck, all it takes is just one light to come on that dashboard and that could just do it for you, thousands of dollars worth of expensive repairs, and not to mention just the stress of having to run your own business in effect while you're trying to find loads and deliver loads and things like that. So that would be my advice as far as things not to do. And the things to do are the things that we just talked about. I mean, just have somebody mentor you through this process and get you into the trucking industry as smoothly and seamlessly as possible.
What about more experienced candidates? Rick specifically, and I'll let Rick maybe introduce himself, seems to have some good experience. He's a retired lieutenant colonel, and he's very interested in maybe an operations role. Is that something that's available to people in the veteran and military space? Or does everybody traditionally enter through the driving aspect?
Not everybody, but of course it depends on where you're at. I mean, you just have to go to our website and look and see what positions are available there in your area. Now, I will tell you that because we're based out of Tennessee, Cookeville, Nashville area, most of the non-driving operations type jobs are going to be there. But if you're willing to relocate to this area, you might find that position there. And then other than that, you'll just have to look at our website to see what area you're in and see if there are any positions available, because we always list them on our website if they're positions that no one has taken from the inside through our job hotline.
Rick, did you want to ask any specific questions? I see you unmuted yourself.
No, I'm good. I appreciate your pitch there for me, Ben, and thanks to Steve and you and all the Averrit team for giving us some oversight. Very much appreciated. But I'll just go on the website. If I see something I think that fits my skill set, I'll reach out to Steve and we'll go from there.
And
Rick,
this is, I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Dan.
Ben. This
No,
is
go ahead.
Dan. Paul King just let me know that here in the Northeast Atlanta location, we've got 2 leadership positions open. So those are just examples of what might be on the website. And kind of as we mentioned previously, we really do try to promote from within. So we're looking first for internal candidates, but there's not always somebody who's interested or ready to step into those roles. So that's why at this North Atlanta facility, for example, we've got 2 positions that we're looking externally.
And Rick, thank you for jumping out there. For all the veterans on the call, if you need some assistance or you need some understanding during this, or if you want to make sure your resume is up to snuff, Next Stop is here to support with that. You can register with us. There'll be an individual case manager that can work you through this process. It can make sure you're prepped before you have the conversation with Steve. Not saying you can't reach out directly to Steve if you're ready, but if you have some, if you need a little cultural competency, you can leverage us. I guess I'll ask this of Bobby, Andrew, or Jan. What do you think the military skills that you had that brought you into this role and made you successful in this role? What do you think helped you stand out and make you be productive because of your military experience?
Leadership characteristics, judgment, enthusiasm, integrity, bravery, unity, courage, knowledge, all that experience in the military transferred over into Averrit. But it was easy because once you got to Averrit, you found so many people that were in the same boat as you with the same type of experience and knowledge. Maybe not exactly the same, but they were trained the same way. They understand the same way, especially when they process logic and stuff like that. And those are the people that make it to the top and work their way to the top because of the experience that they had from the military, combining with Averrit. Could start like I started from driving a truck and then worked my way up. I got offered that frontline leader position. And from there, it just went further. From there, now I'm covering for managers all over throughout the bottom East Coast, to open up new accounts, and then we have all those accounts that we're going to be opening up here shortly. I'm sure that I'm going to be put on some of those too. And I'm excited. To me, stuff like that is just, the more stuff I learn with technology or anything there is just, I'm a high speed. I love it. There's nothing else that I would change to do anything else right now.
It sounds exciting. You have a new challenge every day or a new job every day, right? So a new way. Andrew and Bobby, did y'all have anything separate of what Jan shared?
No, not really. I think Steve covered it pretty much, but I do want to say it's the dedication. Dedication that we've had previously in the service and the dedication on how we do business and take care of our own. And I just want to add one other thing. I probably said it before, but I want to stress it again, is that you are always just a phone call away from assistance with anything you need. And I'm serious. That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. And Bobby?
Just same thing, man. The integrity of being with the same group of people that you are used to dealing with in the military carries over. The same thing with Averrit. And just like Andrew mentioned, they're always just a phone call away if you need anything. But Averrit is not a company that will micromanage you. I can go sometimes for maybe 2 weeks and not even talk to my fleet manager. They give me a load assignment. I complete that load assignment. But if I've got any questions, I can certainly, pick up the phone or send a Qualcomm message and get those answered really quickly. But again, I think the veterans will appreciate a company such as Averrit. And they've been in business for 50 years. I'm looking forward to another 50 years. but Averrit is a really, really good organization. And I thank you for that. Again, thank you to all the U.S. veterans.
What about, Steve, maybe I'll circle back to you, and since you do the recruitment piece, are there misconceptions about this industry that you're faced with that you can kind of explain about? I think y'all covered a lot about that time at home, and you also talked about kind of the flexibility and the benefits associated with this, and also kind of that shared revenue, which I didn't know about at all. But are there other misconceptions that your kind of off the street veteran or military member might have about this industry that you can kind of clarify and let us know?
Sure. Well, I think one of the big misconceptions is that some people think that there's a term just like they use the dumb truck driver. And that's a total misnomer, first of all. I've known lots of truck drivers who are extremely accomplished. They have advanced degrees, college degrees. They're extremely knowledgeable about things, and you have to be. I mean, you cannot, there's a lot more to this than what you might think. You're in charge of a very expensive piece of equipment, hauling, a lot of expensive freight, and you have lives around you that are counting on you to be a professional at all times and to keep everybody safe. And all of the different things that you have to do on a daily basis to plan, trip planning and things like that. It's much more involved than what people, I think, realize. And so that's the first part I'd like to say about it is, now certainly you see some people out there that don't fit that image, either in the way they look or the way that they behave. But it's a career profession. It's a professional career, and it can be a very lucrative career. I mean, it's not, something that a lot of people don't realize, that you can make, even here at Averrit Express, over $100,000 a year, a six-figure income driving a truck. But that's what it is. That's the reality of the situation. I mean, the driver need is incredible. It's a position that you never have to worry about. In fact, I know a lot of drivers that have degrees in business administration and things like that, and they just literally couldn't find a job in their chosen field, or they just simply, because of the politics of it and things like that, they just decided, you know what, I'd rather be out by myself where there's not somebody looking over my shoulder every 5 minutes and, micromanaging me. I can see the country. I can still make a lucrative income, but I'm kind of almost like my own boss. I mean, there were times as a driver that I would have virtually no communication with anybody except through the Qualcomm for the entire week. If everything went really smoothly and I just picked up my loads and delivered my loads and went home at the end of the week, parked my truck at the service center. So that's another misconception, is that, it's almost like you're your own boss. If you're good with time management, and if you're getting the loads there on time and keeping everything safe and clean the way that it's supposed to, you kind of have a feeling of being an independent person, an independent company in and of itself, even though everybody, like Bobby mentioned, everybody is there at the you just pick up the phone and call them. But that was one of the things that I enjoyed about driving, was that I was kind of off by myself, just doing my own thing and getting the loads delivered on time and intact and everything like that.
Thank you, Steve. What about some things about the benefits of this career field, this industry, that people might not know? It sounds like the flexibility and kind of the diversity of space is interesting, but other things that people might not know if they get into this, what are the, we in Louisiana, we call it lanyap, the extra things you're not aware of?
Yeah. Well, I forgot to mention one thing. As a driver, you have time on your hands. Okay. You're traveling large distances. And so that is an opportunity in and of itself. You can do things like listen to audio books. A lot of our drivers are even taking online college courses and stuff while they're out on the road. They take their 10-hour break and they're in their truck, and there's just a lot of time to do things like talk to people on the phone you can just chit chat with people for hours on end. And that was one of the things that I did as a driver, listening to talk radio and different things. And just, it's just a different type of a situation than if you're just behind a desk with your head, your nose to the grindstone, just, doing computer work or whatever. You have some freedom there. You have some ability to expand your knowledge base and to learn different things, experience different things, and of course, see different things. You're always going around and you're seeing different places, different cities, learning about the geography of this great country. I'm the type of person, there are places I haven't seen in this country. I have barely even been out of the United States of America. And to be honest with you, I don't even really have that strong of a desire to leave, because I know that there are so many places here that I haven't seen yet. And so as I retire, I plan on even going and looking around and seeing other things. But as a driver, you get to see a lot of beautiful things, the mountains and out in Texas, and just experiencing things that a lot of people pay a lot of money to do when they go on vacation, but you're there, you get to see a lot of things and be out in God's great wonder. So that's another thing that I loved about it.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else, the veterans on here, does anybody else have a question that hasn't been answered already? Feel free to put it in the chat, or just unmute yourself and ask. I did get another question. Is there any kind of age limitations around the driving roles?
No. I mean, other than the fact that you have to be 21 years old to get a Class A CDL and work for us. But on the upper end of it, no. As long as you can pass the DOT physical, there are no age limits. We've hired drivers in their 70s before, and it's illegal to discriminate based on age anyway. So we don't even consider that. As long as you can pass the DOT physical and do the job, then you can be hired.
Thanks, Steve. What about, as we kind of close this down, what about kind of where do you see the sector going? I know there has been some massive changes in logistics, civilian logistics in the last year because of COVID and the realities around that. But where do y'all see, and maybe this isn't just for you, Steve, but maybe somebody else from your company, where do you see the opportunities go? Where do you see this type of work going in the next 5-10 years?
Does anyone else want to? Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I'll jump in. If you want complete and entire job security, this is a field to be in. The demand is so great in all aspects of our industry that there's more resources required than are available. Just within the supply chain dedicated group, we've got over 150 positions open today, and we continue to bring on new business. So, and that's in all aspects of the supply chain and logistics, transportation industry. So, if there's, I guess, one phrase that I would say completely epitomizes it, it would be job security, as well as the opportunities to do any position that you're interested in.
Hey, Dan, can I make a comment on that as well?
Yes, please, Paul.
By the way, Ben, it's Paul King. I'm the manager of the Atlanta East facility. You and I have chatted some.
Yes, sir.
I run the large LTL facility that we had the picture of earlier in the call.
Largest one in the company.
Right. And I wanted to make sure that, and I'm not sure who the participant group is that's attending from the veteran group, but we have a lot of positions that are non-driving. I know that we talked about the leadership opportunities we've got at Averrit. I've got two great positions here I'm trying to fill in leadership. But we also have a lot of operational support folks driving forklifts. And we compensate our forklift drivers extremely well. The average lift driver in this facilities is in the range of $65,000 a year. And that's only if they don't want to work the additional 10 to 12 hours a week that are available. If they want to work a 60-hour week, that's on a 50-hour week. So I want to make sure that you knew that we have lots of opportunities around the company in operations support, forklift operators, operational support people. really just a variety of positions. And I'd be happy to have Steve funnel any calls to him that are interested in those kind of positions, or they could call me direct. But we've got a lot of needs, and we're a very dynamic company that's moving where the market is. I know you were asking a question about kind of what's changing. Averrit's very dynamic. We're one of the fastest business groups in the company is our distribution and fulfillment, which has to do with internet sales and people buying things online, and us being equipped to take on customers that want to do distribution to people's small businesses and to individuals as well. So we have those opportunities around. I've got them here in Atlanta at Atlanta East, and we've got them throughout the company. So I did want to let you know that, you know, we're looking for those kind of people, along with people that want to move directly into leadership and logistics.
Yeah, and Paul, that's a very good point that we maybe didn't adequately touch on, just in terms of how dynamic and innovative the company is. So when Gary started the company in '71, it was 2 tractors, 3 trailers, and all we did was run LTL on the 1 or 2 lanes that we had operating authority for. From there, obviously he grew geographically on the LTL side, then added the one-way truckload division, then added dedicated, then added brokerage, international, expedite, distribution and fulfillment facilities that we have around the country, import-export facilities around the country. So that, I think, it makes you feel good that you're with a company that is never standing still. We're always moving forward, and as we expand our footprint and the services we provide, that obviously just continues to create additional opportunities for everyone here.
So I think it would be good to do this real quick, and maybe Paul, you can do this, or Dan, you can help him with this. But what can y'all explain the different levels of your business? So we talked heavily about the truck driver and that opportunity today. Paul shared a little bit about the kind of different roles in there and the supporting. I personally don't know what LTL means, but could y'all give us kind of an understanding of the different verticals of your business so people can understand the different parts they could access this type of industry?
Well, like Dan said, Ben, LTL is where we started with, 2 trucks and 3 trailers, doing less than truckload shipments, anything from a parcel size shipment up to even a full truckload. But LTL is still, Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably 60 to 65% of the corporate revenue.
Yes, that's correct.
And of course, we have a large truckload group as well. And we had Dan's division, which is our supply chain solutions operation, where we do private fleet conversion, dedicated work for people like Cracker Barrel and Dollar General. But LTL is kind of where we started. That's why we have the network of facilities that we do that pick up a shipment today, and anything within 500 miles gets delivered the following day. And we're competing with, a host of other carriers out there doing that same thing. But our service is as good or better than anybody picking up a parcel to a, 8 or 10 skid shipment and moving it into our geographic footprint. So LTL is a viable part of our business. These other business units are growing like crazy, just like I talked about distribution and fulfillment. But we have a lot of positions in LTL. We have administrative positions, although most of our customer service and those kind of jobs are centralized in our corporate office. But I've got, starting with forklift operators, we've got frontline leaders that run shifts that manage loadout and manage the inbound. We've got a large number of dispatchers in operation that are managing the city drivers that are on the street every day. They manage those through Qualcomm, where we assign all of our pickup activity over the computer, basically into their Qualcomm units in the truck. We're moving away from that some. We're moving into more of a tablet system where we can transmit through handheld tablets that will give us the updating information with real time with drivers with those tablets as they pick up and deliver. But anyway, we're really proud of the LTL operation and what we provide in terms of service. But we really, we are very diversified within the industry as far as the number of things that we can do. We call it Power of One because we have an incredible team across all business units, but we also do just a host of different services.
Right. So, and much of what we do is really built upon the LTL foundation. So, like the facility that Paul leads here, it's got world-class shop. It's got fuel, the driver support center, and obviously all kinds of other resources that are available to all the business units. So that will always be kind of the mothership. But in terms of our one-way truckload division, we're probably right at 900 power units there, and our owner would love us to get to 1,500 units as quickly as possible. So we're really targeting large growth there. The group that I'm responsible for, it's dedicated supply chain. We've got probably 1,400 power units supporting 70 customers. About half of it's on the retail side with companies like Costco, Petco, PetSmart, Shoe Carnival, Cracker Barrel, and half of it is on the manufacturing automotive side. We do a lot of business with Mercedes in Vance, Alabama, with Nissan in Smyrna, Tennessee, and a lot of tier 1 automotive customers. We also use a technology platform, Oracle-based, where we are managing supply chain for customers like Fujifilm, Lindt, Ghirardelli, chocolates, and a number of others. And then, in addition to that, I kind of went quickly through them, but we have a non-asset group, and that entails a lot of things. So that's brokered truckload, that's expedited services. We're an NVOCC, non-vessel operating carrier authority. So we manage international transportation, both ocean and air freight. And then the most recent is, it's kind of twofold, and Paul referenced it, distribution and fulfillment. So our newest facility, we just opened one in Houston, 400,000. Well, I'm sorry, Dallas is the newest one. That's 400,000 square feet. And we're growing that throughout our system. We've currently got one, as Paul mentioned, in Atlanta, in Houston, and in Nashville. And then kind of related to that is we have what we refer to as portside operations. And a lot of it's the same type of services, but it's focused on import-export facilities. And we have those virtually in every service center that is in a port city. We have 50 to 80 to 100,000 square feet where we're just handling import exports for our various customers. And that's everything from it can be just simple storage. It can be some sort of processing, packaging, whatever service the customer might need. So I guess the relevant point is we're always looking to expand the level of services that we're offering our customers, and we find that actually the nature of our growth has been that it's in response to what our customers are asking us to do. So it's we've always been receptive to expanding what that portfolio of services consists of.
Thank you, Dan and Paul. We're starting to lose people, I think, because of the time frame, but I get a few thank yous, and everybody was very appreciative of the presentation. Steve, do you want to do any direct closeout before we end the recording or end the call?
Well, I hope that everyone saw my information there at the end. If there are still some people on here, just please give me a call or shoot me an email at this information right here, and I would be happy to talk to anybody and move them through this process. If they're interested in coming to work for Averrit Express, I'm here to assist them, and that's what I do. So I'll see that they get everything that they need to take the next step. Okay.
Yeah, and Paul, if you're still on, I know you kind of facilitated the beginnings of all this in our conversation. Is there any closeout that you'd like to do?
No, I appreciate the opportunity, Ben, to have this meeting and to have this call. And I hope we get some folks contacting us because we've got an incredibly good team and we want to add more members.
Thank you, Paul. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording right now. I'm going to go ahead and end